Anyway, the show is starting off with the theme song. That means it's time for an intermission. And for this intermission, we got another Q&A question. And this question is, if you were to design a Winx Club character, what would they be like? I think this question is really good. I got a similar question for this in my 16 question. So if you want to, you can check my 16 video. But obviously, Winx Club and 16 are quite different from each other. So I guess the rules and guidelines for Winx Club is much different from 16. I think the first thing we need to consider is the animation style. While this isn't compulsory, I think the best animation style to design a character in Winx Club is 2D. However, you can play around with 3D as well and other style of animation. I do believe in Winx Club we have had like 3D versions of Winx Club if we're talking about the movies or season 5 and 6. I think that's pretty easy to consider. But it would be really interesting to see like people creating characters with 3D modeling. Like I've seen a lot of YouTube videos of like people creating Winx Club characters in like 2D form, which is really great. I think the 3D creations are rare, but it would be interesting to see like people play around with it. I do believe though, like creating 3D characters it might be tricky for some people, so I can understand that. But it's really up to you how you want the animation to go. What else do we need to consider to create a character in Winx Club? I do think it's important to consider what type of character you are creating. Are you creating a human-based character or an animal-based character? And there's so many things to consider because like Winx Club isn't reality, it's kind of a fantasy. Like in contrast to 16, like 16 is all about realism. Winx Club is a bit more imagination. I mean, we have fairies, mermaids, ogres, minotaurs. We have fairy pets. So those are things we need to think about. And they're like different races for like different types of characters. You got humans, specialists, fairies, witches. There's so many. I think for the most part, people will create fairies because like that's like the main part of the show. So I think I think for most part you're gonna think about that. But I think it will be great if people created other types of like characters in Winx Club, like not just fairies, like it would be nice seeing someone create witches or specialists or mermaids, elves, leprechauns, because we do have characters who are those things. Like we have Palladium, who is an elf. We have Whizgers, who is a leprechaun. We have Teresa, who is a mermaid. Or you can create a whole new type of breed, maybe like an angel. I think Avalon is a type of angel. You got also paladins like Thorin and Nex. You also got ghostly figures like Daphne, the ancestral witches. You also have fairy pets, obviously like we mentioned, and pixie pets. And then also pixies. Those are also important. Selkies as well. So I think those things need to be considered. I think your imagination for this it will be endless. So go for it. But also, I think it's really important to, if you want to go by the Winx Club rules, it's important to think about like what the characters may look like. Or like if you're gonna design a fairy character, I think you would want to have a bit more creativity with the looks. Also, you might need to consider the fairy form. Like, is it Magic Winx? Is it Believix? Is it your own made-up transformation? that can be considered. If you're creating something like a witch, you would want to have like gothic theme to them, or maybe make them something unique that the show doesn't do with witches. Like, how can you make witches look different from fairies? Because you might have a fairy with gothic theme, and you might think they're witches, or you might have witches who wear in like a fairy typical outfit, and you might think they're fairies. So I think it would be a fun idea to like give witches some like unique look to them to make them look like those are witches. I think for specialists, we know that like they wear suits and they wear like a superhero style outfit. You can create how it looks like in the show, or you can create a whole new design for the specialist. And I think I would consider like creating new design of the specialist because I'm gonna be honest. I think the designs of the specialists are kind of samey. Like they always wear the same blue outfit. It's also important to consider like having swords and weapons or any type of weapon to accompany the specialist. If you're creating mermaids, I think it's important to think about the mermaids in Winx Club because they're different to other mermaids. Because in Winx Club, the mermaids have wings, so those are things to consider. Elves have pointy ears, and leprechauns are shorter with pointy ears. At least that's what we can say from what we've seen. And obviously for pixies and selkies, they're gonna be small sized. I hope that gives you an idea of if you want to go with the style of Winx Club. But it's really up to you how you design a character of Winx Club. I also think it's important to think about the gender. I think in today's world we need to like think outside the box now. I think this is an issue I have with Winx Club. I think everyone has issue with Winx Club. Like nearly all the fairies are female. I mean, I bet we get like a few examples of male fairies, but like that's like in the movies. But we don't get enough of them. We need more variety. And for specialists, they predominantly be males, and for witches, they predominantly being females. I think for all species, we need a variety of genders, whether it's female, male, non-binary, uh, however they want to define themselves. I think it should be like it should be free. I think we need more diversity in terms of like gender, sexuality, race as well. Like if we consider like the skin tone and everything, maybe their faces might be different. Like what if we have characters that has unique look to them? Like what if giving them blue skin or make them have a third eye? I think when it comes to the ages, I think it's best to keep them in teenage form because I think in the Winx like that's most of the characters. But I also think it's okay to have different variety of ages. But if you want to go by the Winx guideline, most of them are like in the teens. And similar to 16, Winx Club are a group of six. So if you want to consider like creating group of characters, I think six would be nice a round number. But obviously this isn't a strict rule. I also think it's important to, well, it's not like crucial, but it's important to think about like the planet they are from, the history, the family, the background. If you want to like add something, do they have love interests? That might be important. What is their personality? I think with that you can go all out from creating characters in Winx Club. So those are my ideas of how you can create characters in Winx Club. I am sorry that this took way too long to explain, but I didn't realize it would take this long. And I hope you found this information useful to create your own OCs. And I like seeing OCs in the internet. I think they're really fun. Anyway, since the intermission is over, let's get back into reviewing Winx Club.